All right, once again here with my buddy Erik Valdez. Erik,
Yes, sir.
You've got the Boss 302. Now, anybody watching the show knows I'm a huge Mustang fan, so I do love the fact that this is what your daily driver is, right? It's a little dirty, like you drove it here. So
I'm a little embarrassed.
All the time.
I don't drive it daily, but I do. I've had it a little over a year now. It's got about 9,000 miles on it, so I do drive it. You know.
Have you taken it to the track at all?
I actually had it up there the same day I drove the 918 Spider, but on these street tires, which is not doing it justice. It's phenomenal, dude. I mean, I had a regular 2012 GT prior to this, and it's just the little tweaks they made here and there really. I don't know, it's just the things you can do with this archaic setup, the live axle suspension in the rear and everything like that is just amazing. The car does things it shouldn't be able to do.
So they have the regular version and then they have the Laguna Seca version. This is not the Laguna Seca version.
Oh man,
but why? Okay,
the Laguna Seca,
it's more streetable. It's more of a regular.
It's like $6,000 for no back seat, a set of R compounds, and a 1 millimeter bigger sway bar. It's like
and a splitter in the front,
and a splitter that
you could buy for
you can buy and you
$240.
can't drive on the street with anyway because it scrapes everything. So no, I figured I'd save $6,000. I got a second set of wheels and tires with R comps. Nobody uses the back seat either way, so I don't give a shit. And I really like this color, which you can get on the Laguna Seca, but they didn't have that at the time when I was looking for it at the lot. So for me, it was just like a no-brainer.
You have the side exhaust open?
I pulled it off the day I got it, and it's so obnoxiously loud.
Yeah.
Like, it's already a bright yellow fucking car. Like, every cop in the city wants to pull me over anyway, so the last thing you need to do is give them another reason to. So I actually took the little discs out and just drilled them out a little bit larger. And we just kind of kept drilling, step bit, just drilling them out a little bit more until we got a sound that we liked. I mean, it's amazing. You drill it out by 1/8 of an inch and it changes the sound completely.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So the guys you don't know, most of you guys know because the Boss 202 has been around for a while. It has the full exhaust on it, but there's a smaller diameter side pipe that comes out. There's a disc in there. When you buy the car, the owner can take this disc out, unbolt 2 bolts, slide the disc out, put it back together, and it just opens the exhaust up.
Sounds like an old hot rod.
You just drill little holes in it until you got the sound right?
Yeah, it just made it a little bit bigger. I did put the GT500 axle backs on here. Not the newest Shelby because they have the quad tips, but last iteration Shelby just because.
So you put a little bit of exhaust on
it. Yeah, they sound good.
After these cars came out, they released another feature, the Ford Performance Parts Catalog, introduced the track key. And the track key changed, I don't know, hundreds of different little parameters in the engine. Better throttle response, I believe. A little bit.
Engine braking is a lot more aggressive.
Sound and a little bit more cam rumble.
You got a little bit of a rougher idle. Yeah. It fattens up the torque.
So you have the track key.
I do. I don't drive it with the regular key because it just
except when you go to emissions testing, then you use the regular key.
You do, or I show up at the dealership because it needs some regular stuff done under warranty work. I'll show up with a silver key. But no, I drive with the track key all the time just because it's not the same car without it. Again, it's not the power thing. Like, the power doesn't really give you any more horsepower. It fattens up the torque curve a little bit in the middle, but the biggest thing for me with, road racing background and everything, I'm used to race cars, like the on-off throttle response, the compression braking. So as soon as you lift off, the car, starts to slow itself a little bit more than your conventional car. If you don't really drive something like this back to back with another car, you don't notice, but if you put the regular key in here, you lift off the throttle, it has this coasting element to it before it starts to slow down. Yeah. If you have the red key in, track key, you lift off, it just automatically wants to slow down, which I love. I don't know, just a handful of different things that make the driving experience a lot better.
Now, have you done any other modifications to the car?
It's got a set of Ford Racing springs on it, just to lower it a bit. The car's set up nice from the factory in terms of a handling, handling aspect, but it sat really weird for me anyway. I mean, that's all subjective, but put the Ford Racing springs on there.
Gives it a good stance. You definitely close that gap a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's all you've done to it?
That's it so far. I've got a set of brake pads for the track that I just haven't put on yet.
That's not really a modification. That's a necessity.
It is a necessity, yes. Some camber plates that I've ordered that I just haven't put on yet. And that's about it. I've toyed with the idea of doing the cold air intake in a tune.
Yeah. Well, the track key is basically the tune. So.
Track key's the tune.
I mean, you can tune it a little more, but
there's a couple companies out there that claim to be able to give you the same drivability as a track key with some more horsepower. So You know what? I might try it out because there's really nothing to lose. They program that on the other side of the ECU, the conventional side. So if they do that, the way I understand it anyway, is I still get to retain my track key. If I'm wrong about that and you guys hear this, write them a letter and let me know. Yeah, that way I can kind of go back and forth between a tuned conventional key and the track key.
You know, the regular GT, it's a great motor, but when you step up to the Roadrunner engine in this Boss 302, or you can buy it as a crate engine, you get
all forged internals.
Yeah, forged internals.
Higher compression.
I believe it's not dry sump, but you get that road race pan.
You get a bigger sump, yeah, with the baffle and the pan.
Baffling. I think it's different valve springs and slightly ported heads, and
yeah,
so
it's a lot
great
more
engine.
than what people realize. I mean, again, the power. If you just look from a sheer power standpoint, the new Mustangs, the 2014s are like 420. They were 412 last year.
Yeah.
And this is 444. It's not like an exponential amount of power. You actually lose 10 foot-pounds of torque, pound-feet of torque. I always say it backwards. But it's just you can run this thing a lot harder for a lot longer and not worry about it breaking. I mean, it's 7,500 RPM redline is pretty conservative from what I gather. Boss 302 S's and R's, the race cars that run the same power plant, are at 8,200 or 8,300 RPM rev limiters, I think.
I'm sure you can even change that with a tune because you've got the built motor, you've got forged internals on it. I always thought it was weird that all these cars are doing this now.
Stupid sound
this intake tube here. There's a carbon filter in there, and then this little intake tube basically plumbs itself to the firewall, so when you're driving you can hear engine noise in the car. But BMW does it. Everybody does it.
Well, BMW's pumping it through the audio system nowadays.
Yeah, that's right. Now it's all fake.
Yeah, it's like
it's interesting. I mean, I'm sure it sounds cool in the car, but it's interesting.
With the track key for the cool idle, like the Lopi idle, you have to wait, I think, a minute and a half or something, and then it'll switch over. But we can do that if you want. So that's just the conventional idle there. Again, the GT500 axle backs are nice. You can hear a little bit of sound out of there, but it's got a nice little rumble to it. Yeah. Not enough to really attract too much attention from the cops, but I mean, when you're on it, it sounds wicked. Up at the track, you can hear it all the way. For those of you guys that have been out to Willow before, if you're standing on pit wall, you can hear it coming down through 5 and over the hill and 6 onto that back little stretch into 7. You can still hear the damn car, so it sounds pretty bitchy.
Right. Give it a couple revs. Let's hear it. I see that tack winding out the 7,000. The engine sounds awesome at high RPM.
It does. I mean, and it pulls up there too. It's insane.
I love the Recaro seats. When I drove the Boss that Ford sent us, I think the Recaros are awesome.
It does say Boss 302 a few too many places. It's my one pet peeve.
Yeah, well.
It says it there. It says it here. It says it on the key. It says it there.
Yeah, it's all over. There's stickers all over the place, but.
Yeah. But I love it. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. All right, so tell us again where we can find you, some of your social media stuff.
Social media stuff, again, it's at Erik Valdez. I'm going to say it like that this time.
Yeah, no, I like that.
So Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Throw some likes or some whatevers or thumbs. I don't even know how all this shit works. I'm still fairly new to social media. But yeah, I do tend to have conversations with people on there, especially Twitter. So if you guys find me there, shoot me a question, talk to me. I'll get back to you for sure.
And the show Graceland that you're going to be this awesome bad guy on. When's that going to come out?
Premieres June 11th.
On USA?
On USA.
Awesome.
10/9 Central, I believe.
There you go. Well, what day? We don't even know what day.
Is that a Thursday?
I don't know.
Something like that, yeah.
Awesome. Well, look, I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, man.
Always been fun. And so this is for CarCast. I'm Matt DeAndre, Erik Valdez. Keep the air in the spare and the bag in the wheel.
I know that.
Yeah,
one.
he does know it. That's great.
Let's see if it switch over to the idle now. Watch. There we go. Now you hear the difference.
It says track key enabled. Oh, I do hear the difference.
See that?
I hear the rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not quite as aggressive as I would like, or they initially programmed it as, but for drivability reasons, it would stumble and people would kill the car at stoplights. But it still sounds pretty cool.
It's got a cam rum to it. Yeah, that's
and it actually
cool.
shakes a little bit too if you look at it.
I think it's cool that the dash says it's in track key mode now. We're ready. We're ready.
Exactly.